I'm asking you to explain which jurisdiction are you heading me in? That's a simple question.
Well, what I'm understanding is that the courts is a private for-profit.
So Mr. Musgrove, I know where you're going with this, and none of that is valid. None of that is law.
I'm not the all caps name. Of course.
None of that is valid. None of that is law.
This name of this contract does not refer nor identify the male standing in this corporation. I, Jamil Kumari, being forced to go against my will and my best interest.
Your full name?
Bernard.
I'm
not the corpse. I'm not the corpse. I'm not the fiction that they send me, the caps. I'm not that caps.
So who gave you the last name Little? Your mother?
The government did.
So your mother didn't give you that last name?
The government gave it to me.
She had to tell the government, didn't she?
The government. She was the agent of the state.
She was an agent of the state? All right. What are we gonna do with these cases, Mr. Little or Mr. Bernard?
I would like to know which jurisdiction I'm being tried under so I can adequately defend myself, Your Honor.
Read the court rules. I'm not here to give you a law school instruction. Read the court rules.
What do you mean? As a matter of record, I would like it to be placed on a matter of record how I'm being, what venue you are using, Your Honor.
That's not my obligation, okay?
What do you mean it's not your obligation? It is your obligation. You took an oath to uphold. Excuse me.
Mr. Little.
Yes, sir.
Let's stop, all right?
What do you mean, stop?
Don't talk while I'm talking, first of all.
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. Secondly, it is not my obligation to read you the court rules. You're here. If you don't want a lawyer that is...
I'm not asking you to read me the court.
I'm not finished talking. If you don't want a lawyer that's versed in the rules, then you are obligated to know the rules yourself. Okay? So all of that, what kind of jurisdiction it is and all of that stuff, I'm not here to teach you that. I'm here.
You're not here to teach me, but you're here to inform me what jurisdiction that you're operating in, so I could defend myself. I'm not asking you to teach me anything. You're not teaching me anything. You're notifying me of what jurisdiction that you're operating in. Are you operating in commerce? Are you operating in military? What capacity are you trying me in?
This is district court.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm demanding. I'm not asking you anything. I'm demanding you tell me what process are you charging me of? Or are you charging this fiction of? Are you trying to get the bonds? I'm trying to figure out what's going on. You haven't notified me in the capacity how to defend myself.
This is district court. These are criminal cases. Read the Michigan rules of court.
That's not explaining which venue you are attacking me with. That's not what court. The court is the court. 36th district is not a venue. It's a place. It's an establishment.
It explains everything.
It's not explaining nothing. I'm asking you to explain which jurisdiction are you heading me in? That's a simple question. Why are you running from the question? That's the answer. What's the problem with you answering the question, Your Honor?
You're going to be the third person that I give 30 days for contempt of court to if you do not.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that, Your Honor?
Wait a minute. There's going to be some proper decorum in here, right? You're not going to sit here and you're not going to overtalk me. I've given you the answer to your question. If you don't like the answer, let me finish. If you don't like the answer that I'm giving you, then you file a motion on whatever you think jurisdiction is and wherever you think the case should be dismissed.
It's not about what.
Now you about to go there, all right? One more time, you interrupted me, and we're gonna go there. I said, that gives you your opportunity to speak to the court through a motion. So whatever you say, whatever kind of path you want to take with these cases, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. But you have to put it in writing now, okay? So I can read it, the city can respond to it, and then I can make a ruling off of who I think is in accordance with the law. All right, Mr. Little?
You still, Your Honor, I'm trying to address this matter properly. Okay.
And I'm telling you how to address it properly.
But you still haven't told me what venue you addressing me in.
I just told you, you didn't like my answer. So with that being said, we're not going to go back over this again. You're going to either set the matter for a pretrial date. I'll give you an opportunity to write motions, and you can put whatever you feel that the law is, the state of the law as you know it, or the state of the law as it is, or with the court rules and the statutory laws and everything. You can put that in there, and then I will let Ms. Snyder or somebody from the city law department respond, and then I will make a ruling on how I feel who's on the right side of the law or not, okay?
Your Honor, am I on record?
You are on record.
I'd like to make a matter of record that Your Honor hasn't answered my question properly. Okay. I'm not satisfied with Your Honor's answers to my questions. I also feel as though I've been threatened. I feel like I'm under duress right now, or coercion. I like that to be a matter of record. And I'll let you do what you got to do, Your Honor.
Okay, so we have a jury trial date already set for 4 of the cases. We'll add these other cases to that jury trial date on May the 7th.
May the 7th?
Yeah, it was a final pretrial set for the 30th of March, which would be on, which would be, actually, that was a bad date because the 30th of March is Saturday. So we'll set another final pretrial date and give you a good date. And these motions, let's give you a motion date before May the 7th. Why don't you give me the motions by April the 26th, your motion will be due. So that's a time where you, that's April the 26th, 4/26/2024, motions due, and the response to those motions, if you write them, will be on Friday, May the 3rd. The city will respond if they choose to, respond. And then we'll set a final pretrial date, final pretrial on May the 6th. So your next court date will be a day before the jury trial date on May the 6th. And then I'll make a ruling on the motions on that day. I'll have read your motion. If the city responds, I'll read their response, and then I'll make a ruling on the motion, and we'll see if May 7th that we need that order that jury. All right. You have any further questions, sir? That's May 6th at 8 a.m.
Say that again.
May 6th at 8:30 a.m. So let's go over it one more time. The motions are due on April the 26th, 2024. You don't have to appear, but the motions have to be on my desk by May 26th. And I suggest you forward a copy of that motion to the city attorney, and then
you say April 26th or May 26th?
April 26th. April 26th, the motion's due. The response will be due on May the 3rd, we'll have a final pretrial date. That'll be your next court date, for May the 6th at 8:30. And then we'll have a jury trial date set for May the 7th at 10 a.m. on all the matters, all right?
Yes, sir.
So you put whatever you need to put in that motion, however you feel the state of the law is. I would like to be able to read what you're talking about, because I don't really understand your position right now, all right?
We don't understand each other's position, Your Honor. That's what we're trying to come. That's what we're trying to come together with.
And that's the purpose of the motion. That's the purpose of putting all
Yes,
of
sir.
that
Yes, sir.
information you have in the motion, so I can read it and review it. I might not still understand it. We probably are not gonna understand each other's position.
Oh, you will, Your Honor. You will, because it's your
All right.
language. It's
All right,
your language.
I'll read it, all right?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right, and just moving forward, let's not argue about the situation. Let's have a conversation about the situation so we can have a little bit better decorum next time. All right, Mr. Little?
It's never argument, Your Honor. It may be agreement. You know, because I'm passionate about it, because my life on the line.
All right.
Not only
All
my
right.
life, my trust. So, you know, there's a lot going on that, you know, ones ain't aware of, that I'm aware of, as far as them bonds and things of that nature.
All right.
So, you know, I'm fighting for a lot.
All right. If there's nothing further, sir, have a very good day. Best of luck to you, all right?
You do the same.
I tried to,
Nope, yeah, stand in front of the thing. So what is your name?
Brian Joseph Musgrove.
Okay, are you an attorney? What's your P number?
I'm not an attorney.
So then you can't represent Brian Musgrove. So you are a defendant, correct?
Ex-executor on that estate.
Okay, so none of that is valid or legal. So you have an attorney?
He's not doing nothing for me.
Okay, that was my question. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no?
I have, yeah, he was supposed to be representing me, but
So you have Michael Dagger Margosian. Okay, so he's your attorney. Okay, so go have a seat. When Mr. Dagger Margosian gets here, I'll call your case, okay? So, Mr. Musgrove, you want to come up to the podium, please? This is in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Brian Joseph Musgrove, file number 23-21461FH. I have Isaac Sneed appearing on behalf of the people, and I have Michael Dagger Margosian appearing on behalf of Mr. Musgrove. Mr. Dagger Margosian might, oh, there he is. So, Mr. Dagger Margosian, this is a date and time set for pretrial in this matter. Mr. Musgrove said that he was appearing on his own behalf. I did verify he is not an attorney, and you are still the attorney of record. So, Mr. Dagger Margosian, how do you wish to proceed?
Well, Your Honor, I am aware that Mr. Musgrove wants to present information to the court. I'm happy to be standby counsel if he wants to represent himself. Obviously, this court would have to go through the colloquy of that, but obviously it's Mr. Musgrove's legal right to at least ask the court to do that. So I'm here to observe at this point.
All right. So, Mr. Musgrove, when you were at the bench or up at the podium before, you said that you were appearing on behalf of yourself. So, Mr. Musgrove, are you asking to no longer have counsel represent you?
well, what I'm understanding is that the courts is a private
So,
for-profit.
Mr. Musgrove, I know where you're going with this, and none of that is valid. None of that is law.
I'm not the all caps name. The courts.
None of that is
deal with-
valid. None of that is law. You are standing in my courtroom. I have jurisdiction over you. So,
I tried to file paperwork with the clerk's office ahead of time so that you would have time to review it, and they denied me.
I know what you're talking about. None of that is valid under the law of the state of Michigan or the Constitution of the United States of America.
What do you mean? It is.
No.
The Supreme Court says it is.
What does it say it is?
The Supreme Court says that if we were at the age of 18, we were supposed to claim our minor status.
Nope, not valid.
Okay.
So here's what I would say to you. Mr. Dagger Markosian is, like most of our public defenders, exceptional attorneys and very well versed in the law and very experienced. He gives legal advice. You may not like the legal advice, but it's usually good advice. I've never had anyone from the public defender's office not wholeheartedly try to represent their clients. So what you are talking about is not valid, and it is not going to get you out of this case. You're not going to be able to say all those things because it's not valid.
Everyone in this, involved in this court case has a financial interest in the case. It's what is.
I don't have a financial interest in your case. I get paid by the state of Michigan, whether you plead, whether it gets dismissed. I don't make any money off you. We have budgets. The court system is not a profit generating revenue. We are here to represent people so that people who are charged with crimes are protected. People who are victims of crimes are protected. And that's why we have.
But in order for there to be a crime, there has to be a victim. There is no.
Well, there is a victim in this case.
The victim
because
would be the company. And the
you are
company,
charged.
I can't face.
Actually, just hold on. So your crime that you are charged with, which you are innocent as of this time, let me grab the right file, is failure. Oh, this is let me see. This is an embezzlement charge. So you are charged in count one with embezzlement 50,000 or more, but less than 100,000. That being an agent, servant, or employee of Hardwoods of Michigan Industries did convert to your own use without the consent of your employer or principal industrial tools and equipment in the amount of $68,938.40 or money or equipment. And that's a 15-year felony. So if you are found guilty by a jury, you can go to prison for up to 15 years. You're charged in count two with using a computer to commit a crime. To facilitate the charge in count one, that carries a maximum penalty of up to 10 years in prison. And the way the statute is set up, I can actually stack those possibly. So you potentially could be looking at up to 25 years in prison. So the victim that's alleged in this would be that business.
Right, and I can't face that accuser because that business can't get on the stand for me to ask questions, and a third party.
But their
can't stand
representative
it.
can. Yes, they can.
They
Yes, they
can?
can. Yes, they
Okay.
can. So I have 189,000 of student loan debt that was forgiven to be a lawyer. You do not. And Mr. Dagger Margosian, Mr. Isaac Sneed, all of the attorneys here went to law school to know the law, and their job is to advise you of the law. So yes, they can. Yes,
They're
you
going
can be
by
charged.
everything, all the
can't-
laws and statutes that you guys go by
Are
for
legal.
corporations. They're for fixed.
Still a crime. Still a crime.
But I'm not
Still a
a fictitious
crime.
corporation, I'm a living person.
Yep, and that's why you're standing in front of me. If you were dead, the case would be dismissed.
Yeah, the all caps name is that.
That means nothing. That's not valid. It's
Okay.
not legal.
right.
So do you want to represent yourself or do you want to have an attorney to represent you?
I need some time to think.
Okay, so I'm going to set this for another pretrial on March 20th at 8:30 in the morning. And Miss Adams, could I get a notice of hearing for Mr. Musgrove?
Yes, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Musgrove, have a seat on that bench right behind you. And then Miss Adams will give my bailiff a notice of hearing, and my bailiff will provide that notice of hearing to you. Mr. Dagger Margosian, did you have any other matters in my court this morning?
Yes, yeah.
I know Mr. Salim represents him in one of those.
Colleen?
Mr. Salim, can you join us?
Your Honor, can I speak for the record too?
Williams, finish now. I'll let you.
Yes, sir.
So I think we're set to go to trial on 1933-65 next week. And I presume 2756 as well.
Yes, Judge.
I know that we had a couple motions that we dealt with last week.
I didn't rule on the motion to consolidate.
I don't
You
believe,
did, Judge. You granted it last week. I don't know if there's been a written order, but you granted it in court. I actually had filed a amended information consolidating those two counts, but I left it on the printer this morning, so I will file that. My intention is in the 1933-65 case, he is currently charged with two counts. One is the felon in possession of a firearm. That would have to be bifurcated anyways. So I had not included that in the amended information, and I plan on moving forward with the attempted first degree murder with a firearm and the tampering of the witness at trial next week.
Okay.
And my recollection, Judge, was that you, at that hearing, I remember you saying that you were inclined to grant the joinder of them. I'm not sure. You may have said it.
But if I did and just out of an abundance of caution, I'll grant the motion.
And that was certainly, I anticipated you do that, and have been acting accordingly. I would like to put a few things on the record, Your Honor. My client had an offer from the state last week, and he did not wish to take advantage of that offer. My investigator and I went out to the jail, talked to him, went over things, explained everything to him. I gave him my advice, which was that I thought it was in his best interest to accept the offer. He refused that, and that offer was for 20 years with a mandatory minimum. He still has an offer today for 25 years mandatory minimum, and I've discussed it with him briefly over here in the box, and he's told me that he doesn't wish to do that, but considering the
Hey,
fact.
Your Honor, this man ain't even helped me in my
Mr. Marty,
defense, none of that.
Mr. McCarty, I told you I'd give you an opportunity to speak.
Okay, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Finish.
What I was going to say, Your Honor, is considering, I've explained to him that his exposure is in the 3365, the attempted murder case is a life sentence, in that he's further exposed in the 2756 case on the tampering to an additional 30 years, since it was a tampering with the underlying case being a first degree. So I've explained to him his exposure. I've given him my advice. I've told him what I think is best for him. And he, as is his right, he's choosing not to do that. But I did want that on the record so that there was no confusion later on about whether or not I had informed him of the offers and how I advised him and that sort of thing. So,
Your Honor, my intention is to revoke those offers today, and I plan on moving forward next week. One thing that Mr. Williams mentioned, yesterday I filed the HBFO notice, which actually extends his exposure in the tampering case from 30 years to possible life in that case as well. Okay. So the maximum that Mr. Cromartie faces is 2 life sentences consecutive.
Okay.
I really wasn't aware of that. You hear what he said?
Yes, sir, but.
So let me ask you this. Before the judge is going to give you a chance to talk.
Okay.
But in light of the fact that Mr. Sullivan has made this new filing, and now you have your maximum exposure is 2 life sentences, do you wish to reconsider your choices with
I don't
regard to
understand.
accepting the
I
offer?
don't understand. I don't understand. And being him, being that he's representing me, we haven't even worked the defense in this case at all, period.
Okay.
And plus,
Let's take one thing. Do you understand that you've been off for 25 years in prison?
I don't understand, sir. Yeah.
Then yes, you do understand you have a plea offer for 25 years in prison.
I don't understand because I'm innocent. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what
Listen, you've entered a not guilty plea, so there's a presumption that you're innocent, or a presumption you're not guilty. So that, regardless of your claims or the fact that right now we presume you not guilty, you understand the state has offered to let you plead no contest to charges, and it'd be a 25-year sentence. And I believe, what is it? Is it a minimum mandatory 25?
It would be a minimum.
Minimum mandatory minus the time you served in jail. No, I just need you understand that's the plea offer from the state.
Hell no. I don't understand none of this, what he thought. And it's a conspiracy between these two right here.
Listen, Mr. Cromartie, what do you?
Man, I don't understand, sir. And
I don't believe you, Mr. Cromartie, because you act like you do understand it. But what are you asking for right now? What are you asking for?
I'm asking for him to be removed off my case.
Raise your right hand to be sworn.
I do.
Wait till the oath is done, sir. Do it again, madam.
Yes, sir.
Raise your hand again.
Solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Cromartie, state your name.
Jamel Cromartie.
What are you asking for today, Mr. Cromartie?
This name of this contract does not refer nor identify the male standing in this corporation. I, Jamel Cromartie, being forced to go against my will and my best interest. My right of due process have been impeded upon. Also, my Fourth and Fifth Amendment right have been violated. I invoke my rights of the Constitution to protect me and my best interest. I invoke my Fifth Amendment.
Okay. All right, then you vote the Fifth Amendment right, so you're not asking to testify. What are you asking me to do?
First of all, I have the right to face my accuser.
Listen. What are you asking me to do today, Mr.
You
Cromartie?
saying I don't understand.
Mr.
Just
Cromartie,
don't-
what are you asking me today? I'm gonna give you
No,
one.
I
chance.
don't need him on my case.
Okay, are you listen, what are you asking me to
Or
do?
this one right here. This both them two right there.
Okay,
I got some that's conspiracy on what they trying to do.
okay, what do you want me to do?
Continue my trial.
No,
Till I
sir,
get-
motion denied. What are you asking me to do? What are you asking me to do, Mr. Cromartie?
A fair trial.
All right now, you're gonna get a fair trial. Is there anything you're asking me to do right now?
I'm saying I don't need them on my case.
What are you asking me to remove them?
Yes, sir.
And then are you gonna represent yourself or are you gonna hire another attorney?
I'd rather represent myself to get an attorney.
You already sworn in, so state your name again.
Jamel Cromartie, sir.
Mr. Cromartie, you're asking to represent yourself next week, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understand that you're looking at life in prison if convicted of two life sentences.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understand you've been offered a 25-year plea deal.
Yes, sir.
And when you said before you didn't understand that, you were not being truthful with the court, is that correct?
I mean, I'm saying yes, sir, to say yes, sir. I'm guessing you agreeing with me. I don't know.
No, I'm asking you a question. So you don't understand that, is that correct?
Understand what?
That you have been offered 25 years in prison if you pled no contest and that would settle your cases. Do you understand that?
I don't know how to answer that.
You're going to have to answer my questions if you want to represent yourself, sir. If not, I'm not going to find you competent to represent yourself.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand you've been offered 25 years in prison? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you said before you didn't understand that you were not being truthful with the court, is that
It's a
correct?
lot that's going on that I don't understand.
Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
You were not being truthful with the court. Is that correct?
I'm not gonna say I'm being truthful.
When you
I
said
don't understand.
you don't
You
understand.
got to talk to me in a level where I got to
Yes, sir. I'm
understand.
talking to you. I'm talking to you at the same level.
But some of that I don't understand because there's some shit.
So you
that's
don't
going on.
you don't understand what's going on?
Half of it I don't.
How far did you get in school?
9th grade,
And you read and write?
barely. I could barely spell.
Okay. And you understand if you represented yourself, you'd have to do everything a lawyer
I'm gonna
did.
do what I can that I've been trying to do.
Do you understand you'd have to do
I do
everything?
better than him.
Listen to me. If you want to represent yourself, you got to answer these questions. If not, I can't allow you to represent yourself. So,
I ain't trying to make a fool of myself, but Yana, I don't need them two on my case.
okay. You can barely read and write. Is that correct?
I learned.
You're going to pick a jury Monday morning. I'm not continuing the case. And you're going to try the case next week if you represent yourself.
Okay.
And you read and write.
I'm gonna learn.
You don't have time to learn. So you can barely read and write.
I learned.
You're going to pick a jury Monday morning. I'm not continuing the case. And you're going to try the case next week if you represent yourself.
Okay.
And you read and write.
I'm gonna learn.
You don't have time to learn. So you can barely read and write. Is that correct? You don't understand about the plea offer. You understand that lawyers are trained in the rules of evidence, criminal procedure, and the law. They're there to assist you in preparing for trial and trying the case. Do you understand that? Okay, well, I'm gonna find that you're not competent to represent yourself. Mr. Salim will stay on his case. Mr. Williams will stay on that case, and we'll see you Monday morning and pick a jury.
All right.
I've got one, Your Honor. State of Florida.
Well, well, let's just go ahead. I don't know if you were listening in when we were talking about your case. As you know, we've been waiting for the doctors to talk with you to see whether or not you're able to go forward on this matter. And there is now a date set for your interview.
I don't understand. What am I meeting with a doctor for?
They need to ascertain whether you can understand the nature of the charges and whether you're able to assist your attorneys. It's a two-prong
Well,
test. So that's what we've been waiting for.
I understand the nature. I'm trying to figure out the cause. You guys never tell me.
Figure out what?
I understand the nature of this case. I'm trying to figure out the cause of this case. Like, what are we here for?
Well, you've been charged with the criminal offense of driving while your license is suspended in the 3rd degree and operating a vehicle without the required ignition interlock device. Those are the charges.
I've never had a license for you to
So,
suspend.
sir,
I don't
please
know
stop
what that
talking about
means.
the facts of the case. This is your attorney.
Who?
This is Sean Parent, one of your attorneys, so please don't talk about the facts of the case.
Well, I'm not denying any of the facts. I'm just letting you know I'm letting you know what I understand is what I'm saying. She asked me if I understand, and I'm trying to answer the question. I'm letting her know what I understand, and I'm trying to figure out what's making me what are you trying to call it? Incompetent? Is that what you're trying to say I am?
Yes, there's legal competency and it's 2 prongs, whether you can understand the nature of the charges and whether you're able to assist. So right now, there's a question about whether you are able to proceed, and that's why we're having the doctors talk to you. That's
Why
the
can't I just
current
ask
status.
why can't I just ask the judge? Like, what?
Well, I
Doesn't the judge know?
am the judge, and I need those doctors to give me their opinion when they review your records and speak to you. And then we'll get a
Well,
report back. So right
Well, I
now,
never
you're
gave my
finally being
consent for
interviewed.
that. So I'm trying to get the answers from you. Like I'm in here talking to you.
And I'm
trying
telling
to-
you that you need to speak to these doctors on April 24th at 9 a.m.
And why do I need to talk to a doctor? I'm still not understanding. Like I'm trying to figure out why are we really here?
Because you're charged with the crime, and I need to make sure that you are legally competent to proceed in this matter.
What is the name of the crime?
I told you it's driving while license suspended, 3rd degree, and operating a vehicle without an ignition interlock device.
Is there any injured parties? Is there somebody willing to go on the stand and say that I actually committed a crime? Who has a claim against me? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to settle the matter. I'm not arguing the facts.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to take care of this and
And we cannot proceed while your ability to understand the nature of the charges and to assist your attorney is at issue. We cannot proceed.
We're
So
wasting
we are
time
in this
because I could
status.
just ask you. That's what I'm
And I'm
saying.
telling you right now, so the next hearing will be hopefully with a report in hand. You will have had your interview on April 24th at 9 a.m. Mr. Parent, you know where he would be going for that?
I'm not sure if it's going to be at the Shoreline Courthouse or down at our office in Kent, or possibly at the courthouse in Kent. Kind of depends on where he lives.
You have good contact with Mr. Richard?
Yeah, we have a good phone number for him.
Okay.
So we will be able to keep in touch with him.
Okay, so Mr. Richard, they're going to meet with you on the 24th.
How?
And would it take about a week or two, Mr. Parent?
Are
Do you
they
think
gonna
the report
come
back?
meet somewhere or something? Like what are they about to do?
Let's have him return on May 6th.
Well, like I said, you don't have my consent.
Actually, May
to send
1.
me
Let's
to a
do May
doctor.
1.
So I don't know why you think I have to go see a doctor when I could just ask you all the questions that's stopping us from going forward. I told you I'm trying to settle the matter. I don't know what's going on.
Right. We keep trying to explain that to you, Mr. Richard. The reason is you're going to have to talk to these doctors and we'll get some additional information.
All right,
So
cool.
your
Okay,
next
well,
hearing will be on May 1st.
Has there been a guilty plea that has been put into record?
No, we can't do that because we have to determine whether or not you're able to proceed in this case.
So there is no plea that's been put in file.
There's a plea of not guilty that's been entered.
And who put that in?
You had a first appearance and you are unable to plead guilty. So a not guilty plea has been entered on your behalf and we are waiting to have the doctors talk to you. And
How
this has
can
been going
somebody-
on for quite some time, Mr. Richard.
How can somebody put a plea in for me? That makes no sense. Doesn't the attorney have to do what I ask them to do, or they're acting in dishonor if
Well,
they don't do what I tell them to do?
All of this confusion that's going on right now is many examples of why we need this evaluation to take place. So
No,
I
how?
need you, we're going to
Because I
end
have
your
questions
hearing,
for the judge?
Mr. Richard.
I have questions for the judge, and you're just saying that I'm incompetent. Like, why can't I get the answers from you? Do you not know your own laws?
I cannot go forward until I get a report from the doctors.
And why is there a doctor that needs to be involved in this? This is what do you say, a traffic matter?
Okay, I'm going to conclude this hearing. I believe that we need a report from the doctors based upon your answers, and this has been going on for
I just
quite some
told you, like,
time.
I'm not denying any of the facts. So why do we need to see a doctor? Can I just pay for can I just settle the fines that you have in
there's
this case?
a
Can I
criminal
just do that
charge
and
with
get this over
jail.
with? Huh?
All right, so
What'd you say?
it's a criminal charge with jail. It's not just paying a fine, Mr. Richard. So we are going to set this over. May 1st will be the next date you come back to court. And I will
Well-
ask that you follow through and attend that evaluation on April 24th.
You just
And
told me
that
this was
Mr.
criminals,
Parent
right?
is going to make sure you know where you need to go.
But you just told me this was criminal, right? So why can't I just settle the fines?
Because criminal is not about fines. It's about jail time as well. So.
And why does somebody get jail time for something that they never had? I've never had a driver's license.
Mhm. Okay, so we are done with your case today, Mr. Richard. Thank you. We'll get that date out to you.
Well, you don't have my consent, so like I said, I don't know what you think I'm.
All right.
It's not an ORV, not an ORV. Okay. So I saw your response this morning. I saw your reply to her response. Did you see those, by the way, the reply? All right. So I think we've all seen the same paperwork. Okay. You want to hit some highlights of your argument?
I mean, my argument's pretty much cover the whole thing, and like I said, again, this goes back to just trying to label this an ORV. And it's strict ORV, like if I took a monster truck up on the roadway that takes up whole roadways, can't turn, make turns in roadway, right? The way the statute's applied, they can be, and for instance, they advertise like Ford Raptors and such, right? They show them in all the commercials going up mountains, same Jeeps, all, they advertise, hey, take them all off road, right? So the way the statute's written, they can just basically be like, oh, hey, anything with that looks like, pretty much any vehicle is capable of going off the road. So any given time, the way the statute's being applied to me, they can just, any vehicle is capable of being taken off road.
Let me stop you though. Let me stop you. That's actually a different argument. So one argument is your Terex is not an ORV. The other argument is their ordinance or the statute they're applying is just too vague. It's just unconstitutionally vague. Would you agree with me? That's two different arguments?
I think they tie me up.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But the reason I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think there's two different responses that could come and two different decisions that could be made. Would you agree with me? Okay. So I want to take them one at a time then. So first is, well, one would be your Terex is not an ORV, doesn't meet the definition. And the second argument would be, and the definition they're using is overly vague. Okay, so Madam Prosecutor, pick one of those arguments. Let's pick one and we'll talk about one at a time.
Certainly, Your Honor. Let's start with whether or not the authority.
Just call it Terex. Just call it let's make it specific to him, the Terex.
324-81122.
Oh, give me that again. I was somewhere else when you started talking. Go ahead. MCL.
81101 sub U defines ORV as a vehicle, a motor-driven off-road recreation vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of a road or trail on or immediately over land, snow, ice, marsh, swampland, or other natural terrain. It goes on to give examples of what is included in an ORV and what are not included as an ORV. Here, the utility terrain vehicle, as Mr. Counsel labels it, is an off-road vehicle. Exhibit A that I included in my motion is a.
Let me stop you. I'm sorry. In your reply to his motion? Is that where your exhibit A is? Okay, go ahead.
Owner's manual of the parent. It particularly states under basic state, off-road vehicle, off-highway use only. This vehicle is not an all-terrain vehicle. It is designed and equipped to be a multi-use utility vehicle for off-highway use only. Use of this vehicle on public roads and paved surfaces is hazardous. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. In addition, in Exhibit B, I included a relevant portion of the ORV handbook that is found on the state of Michigan's website. And it includes utility terrain vehicles as an ORV. It also, conveniently enough, includes a photo of a near identical ORV that Mr. Cassell operated back on February 3rd of this year.
Okay, anything else?
I guess I can go further. Mr. Cassell then goes on to liken it to something like a Ford Raptor, a Jeep, monster truck. The multi-purpose personal use vehicle used for personal family conveyance. MCL 324.8112 sub 1 states that an individual shall not operate an ORV that is not registered under the code upon a street, county road, or highway. A Ford Raptor, Jeep, and a monster truck all need to be registered in order to operate on.
Right.
Mr. Cassell was not pulled over for his business, he was operating an ORV, but because that ORV was not registered, did not have a license plate. For that reason, I believe that this motion should be dismissed and the people renew their request for motion.
I have an objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, it's not an objection, it's a response, but go ahead.
Okay, well, again, none of the registration or any of that stuff was even brought up, any of it. They slapped an ORV on it because they had me held in the car for 45 minutes on the phones. I have a body cam trying to figure out what to even charge me with because I wasn't pulled over in retaliation. And that is what they pulled me over for. Reading what was stated and put on there. And going back to liability or the not operating on highway use, it's referring to, we purchased those, I don't know if that involved one or used them. They tell you that they come stock to only go about 50-ish miles an hour. You can get a module to make it go highway speeds when they're referring to highway.
I saw that in your response.
The higher speeds, and that would be the reason why. And I think everyone does nowadays see how common these UTVs are, see them all over the place.
I got to shoot you down there though. Because you spend a lot of time talking about that you see these all over. That doesn't make them legal. I mean, that just bottom line doesn't make them legal. The fact that some, for example, some communities just kind of like turn a blind eye to golf carts, right? That's not necessarily saying they're legal. That's just saying they're not enforcing them. Now that gets to your other argument, which, does that create an unfair situation? But I gotta shut you down there because just because you see them doesn't mean they're legal. But let's get back to that language you used. Like, I gotta find it. Oh, okay. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. I understand your argument is they're telling you to stay off the highway with a stock Terex, but they didn't say highway. They said not safe for public roads or paved surfaces. That's what they said.
What?
So I'm just.
Again, why? Just like how they put on bicycles, they wear all knee pads and helmets, right? So
I understand that.
They don't operate on public roadways without a helmet.
I understand that's your take on what this means, but the clear language says don't go on paved surfaces.
Yes, the clear language is same with the manuals for again, dirt bikes, motorcycles, right? Yeah, that's still legal for people to drive around without helmets.
All right.
Because it's a liability issue. That's why they put it in there.
So
What people do with something after purchasing.
So my understanding is that if you jump through the hoops, if you go through the process, it's possible, you might have to add some equipment to your Terex or whatever. But it's possible to get some of these vehicles registered as roadworthy with the Secretary of State. That's my understanding. If it's got, and I made a list, if it's got bumpers at the correct height, it's got windshield and wipers and rear view mirrors. If it's got all this safety equipment, then you can get it registered and put it on the road legally. Is that your understanding?
Oh, no, in my defense, before this even happened, Sergeant Bryce, there was a bar there.
No. Hold on. I'm talking generally. I'm not talking, hold on. I'm not talking specifically to you. I'm talking generally speaking. Do you agree with me that there is a process that the state of Michigan has that you can take something that may be an off-road vehicle and you can go through steps and have it roadworthy and registered as such with the state of Michigan? Do you understand? Do you agree there's a process for that?
I'm for certain vehicles, I would say, yes.
Okay, all right.
My specific UTV, they are already equipped and sold, road ready. And even-
Okay.
Again, you go back to the disclaimer, just because they put it in there, it's a disclaimer for their.
Then why have you not registered as a vehicle with the state of Michigan?
Sergeant Bryce told me I was well within my lawful rights. You, like, and I stated numerous times, both to me and my wife at the gas station, right where I got pulled over. Well, previously to this, we even talked about it. We had a conversation about it at the gas station. The BP simply Millville. He instructed, even told me, you're well within your lawful rights.
Okay.
He said this numerous of times. And then I relayed this to Officer, I don't know.
The officer that wrote the ticket.
Yeah, right. And then when I asked him, the second interaction I had with him, I asked him, like, dude, I need to get you, so I need, which is part of the body cam. I'm still trying to get a hold of these things because I have to take them to court for it. Because they're withholding body cam image. Where I asked him, hey, I need you to get a supervisor to clarify this, because he told me I'm not getting a pissing match, and drove away. So.
All right, stop there. Hold on. Is it your understanding that there's a mechanism by which if the safety equipment is there, then the vehicle can be registered with the state of Michigan?
But it's my understanding that the specific township or municipality needs to adopt or identify certain roadways that they are then able to operate on. As far as I know, the township of Huron doesn't have any that are safely permitted. I do believe that.
Hold on. You're telling me if the state of Michigan registers it as a motor vehicle, you guys can still say you can't go on your roads?
I believe it's county owned roads. Or it's my.
Even though the state says it's a motor vehicle? Because that's my understanding. If the state registers it as a motor vehicle, that's what they're doing after all the safety equipment is there.
But I believe it's for limited use. So like, there's examples in the statute that talks about for limited purposes of, say like parades or something to that effect.
Again, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm cogitating. Well, it would seem to me that the township's got to get off its ass and do something with their ordinances on register. I mean, if the state's out there authorizing people to drive these on pavement and you guys just haven't decided where they can and can't, it sounds like the township's got to get on the board.
I could even look up their one that's decided, to be honest, they said it didn't exist.
What doesn't exist? I'm sorry.
They're trying to charge them with the code they gave, he said it doesn't even exist. I couldn't
Okay.
look it up.
Brother, you keep throwing new arguments in.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm just bringing it up.
Hold on. Let's not get there yet. Make a note so you don't forget to get there, but don't get there yet. I'm having trouble figuring out how the township can tell somebody they can't operate a motor vehicle that the state of Michigan says is a motor vehicle.
Your Honor, I am not specifically prepared to argue that only because Mr. Cruzel's ORV wasn't registered. So it has no bearing on whether or not it can operate.
But it can be.
Souls.
Well, don't get me started with that. I mean, all right, so let's talk about the fact that they've charged you under an ordinance that doesn't exist. My paraphrase of your argument.
Yeah, I've been trying to clarify too and bring it up too, but I've been trying to find it. Doesn't even, the code they cited doesn't even exist.
All right, hold on. Let me get to the paperwork.
I just had one fact I wanted to throw.
Hold on. Don't do that. You're confusing me. Make your notes so you don't forget. All right, so if we look at the ticket, offense code is 257311. Authorization code is I don't know what that is. 00003?
Yeah, I think.
Is that, I'm reading it 00003. So I guess let's get a clarification from the prosecutor. What is the specific ordinance, statute, whatever, that the ORV on roadway is being prosecuted under?
So here on adopt the Michigan Traffic Code, which I could reference to, but I also stated in my motion, that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the reply that I'm looking at for today?
Yes.
All right, so let us both know where to find that. Yep.
And, my final argument, or my final, sentence before my argument, ultimately.
Okay.
Or on the roadway in violation of MCL 324-81122 and Huron Township Ordinance 506-4, which I do have a copy, and it is on and available on E-code 360, which is.
Okay. Could you provide a copy of that to Mr. Cassell? You only have one copy?
I do.
That's all right. Mr. Cassell and I can share it. Yeah, probably helpful. Mr. Cassell, why don't you let me have that for just a minute. We'll make copies. So then you've got a copy, I've got a copy. You got a copy for yourself, counsel?
I don't, but it's word, which is making it.
Let's make a couple copies of it. All right, so while we're waiting for those copies,
I would like to also add, Your Honor, to make this even more interesting, the township is doing, Police Chief, Robbins, we've known him.
hold on. Two.
Not relevant. He keeps believing there's some sort of conspiracy against him. When in fact we're here today for operating ORV on the roadway back in February. If there's any conspiracy, it's one that Mr. Cassell's orchestrated himself.
Okay, hold on, because I think your objection might have been a little bit premature. I don't even know where he's going.
So what's funny about the ORV thing is because Police Chief Robbins, we've known him forever. He's at my personal ORV, had his, my dad, same thing.
Okay.
He even contacted my dad and had asked him, he's here, asked him to have me call him because he couldn't call me for legal reasons. And when he said, he brought up and goes, you know, man, you can't have an ORV, he goes, he's trying to work out, he even told me he wanted to work out a deal with me, is what he told him on the phone. And,
That's simply not true.
it's very true. You can test. They actually have to text.
Well, okay, well, hold on. Neither one of you were in on the conversation. So you sit down, let me hear what he's got to say.
So I called Everett, voicemail, he called me back and he started off saying, no, man, you can have an RV. You and I both know it's not just an RV. And then he goes on to call it, he goes, oh, well, anyway, you can't have a motor vehicle. So then he flip-flopped the terminology.
Okay.
And there as well.
But I don't mean this to sound condescending, but what's the point of that story?
So they're just, the original stop, because again.
There's confusion.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why they kept me in the car so long, because they were trying to figure out what to even do, and that's.
Right.
What they came up with.
Right.
Right, so that's where this whole ORV statute is trying to be applied to my situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't doubt there's confusion. I mean, I'm here. Okay. All right, let's get back to the paperwork. You got a copy now, Mr. Cassell? All right. So counsel, if you can show us or direct us, I should say, to specific language where the township's hanging its hat.
Sure, so it similarly, identifies the definition of an ORV on the second page.
ORV or vehicles, is that where you're reading? Okay.
And then, it goes on to state.
Are you going to prohibited activities?
So, I am. Yes, 5064 from the activities.
S. Is that where you're going?
Yes, I am.
All right, so just so we're clear, so he knows what he's defending against. It's 5064 S is the prohibited activity, and 5063 would provide the definition that you're trying to apply to his Terex.
And word for word is.
All right, Mr. Crucell, now at least you know exactly what language you're fighting. Okay.
Yeah, and again, with that definition, law, it even, he said, that goes back to our showing that even Jeeps and trucks, they're advertised and sold and shown as recreational vehicles, off-road and everything. This would allow the township or the state to just at any given time be like, oh, hey, we don't like you, so here, we're gonna slap you with an ORV fine for any vehicle that's capable of going off-road, because that's just what they want to claim it as. I mean, that's just so ambiguous, it's outrageous.
But I think her argument a few minutes ago, maybe more than a few now, was, but all of those are registered.
But that's not what was the issue with Annie. That's not what I was even, no one even brought it up at the time that I was arrested and stopped, none of that stuff. I was just stopped in peer retaliation. I wasn't charged for any of that stuff. No one brought it up. And again, going back to it, I was previously told I was lawfully allowed to do what I was doing.
What do you think the retaliation's about?
Because I had 200 encounters with this officer, he's a new hire, and what happened was, this all stemmed from the fact that our neighbor.
Oh, just bad blood between you individually?
Well, I guess so, because I didn't even know him for a whole year prior to this. It's even in their notes and everything that my neighbor kept calling, saying we're reckless driving with our kids. And it's even on the thing that he was intoxicated almost every time he's calling. And they stopped coming out, and Officer Price even said, we're not coming out messing with you guys, we're not doing nothing wrong, and this is going on until this new hire kid shut up. And I told him, I was like, dude, you need to go talk to Dave, you gotta go do it, this has already been taken care of, this guy keeps calling, you even told who's the lady, when they call in a freaking.
Dispatcher?
Dispatcher. Put in the note several times, the guy's intoxicated, just making calls, and that's why they stopped coming out, I told him this, and then. But yeah, it was the next day after I told him, dude, you need to go get your supervisor here, please, so we can figure this out. And that's when he told me, I'm not getting a missing match and left. I mean, I know his body cam's out, I've seen it. And that's why part of the body cam I'm still trying to get, but they won't give me. And there's still other parts of the stuff that other body cam that I know is missing, I'm still trying to get a hold of. Because and then Officer Smith, they're in body cam even talking that they were purposely, all that officers, is it side or like, yeah, that he was purposely watching for him. He's on the phone talking about this. He's also on the phone with Everett and a couple other officers trying to figure out applicable laws because he didn't know. They arrested me based off something he thought he could arrest me on. It wasn't even an arrestable offense. And then the only reason he found that out was because he had to call the FOIA lady, Jill Evans. And then the original officer that stopped me, he couldn't even finish filling out the citations. Officer Smith, who was his supervisor, had to get in the car and finish filling out. And that's what they ended up, because he was on the phone the whole time trying to figure out what to even put on the thing to charge him. It's been an orchestrated event the entire time, up to leading how, especially shows even more that there was collusion. It's how I got an unsigned order and all this stuff sent to me. It was more just threatening and intimidation. And that's what.
Oh, unsigned order.
Yeah, and in the very beginning, I got a default order that's unsigned, didn't have.
Oh, no, brother, no, brother. Hold on, stop. I gotta say this. Listen, that's just timing. Nobody from Huron Township called up here to one of my clerks and said, screwing. It's because it happens all the time when there's a misdemeanor tracking, people forget to deal with this. We got a speeding ticket you're in default in right now.
Conversations. I've been told from people that work in the department that people are always conversing between the judges and the prosecutors.
But I'm telling you right now, that none of my clerks defaulted you to try to cause you trouble. It's in the computer and it happens all the time. The misdemeanor case is tracking it slower. And you don't realize you got to do something different with the civil infraction, so a default enters.
No, I don't want to say it's more stuff.
Hold on. I have to tell you, there's no conspiracy against you on that default. That's just the way shit happens. It's just because the computer tracks things differently with misdemeanors and civil infractions. And that's all fixable. Okay. Anything else that we didn't talk? I mean, I cut you off a couple times saying, don't give me a new issue at this point. Anything that you want to bring up?
I mean, I got pretty much all my arguments of being in. I mean, this is clearly, but
What's going on with the body cam? You claim you can't get body cams.
He was also reporting this incident himself, so he had.
Well, that's a different issue though. Part of discovery is he's requested body cams. You're saying he didn't provided those.
He's filed at least 10 FOIA requests for township, including any of the stops or any of the citizen complaints that police have been called out to, but also including his wife's traffic stop.
I'm not getting into all that, but you have provided him body cam footage of interactions. You're talking on top of me, counsel. You have provided him body cam footage of interactions between he and the officer that issued these tickets. Yes? All interactions. You don't have them.
I know for a fact there's a couple of videos missing.
All right. Do you have dates of incidents?
I do, but I don't have that stuff with me. That's all part of my lawsuit thing I'm filing for the circuit court for the FOIA lawsuit stuff. I got all that stuff organized at home for that.
But that's stuff that you think you need to defend yourself here.
Well,
If it's not, that's okay.
well, I mean, it would also be just scheduled.
No, I just need to know, because if you're prepping to defend for trial and that's discovery you think you need, then I'm going to order that they provide it.
Well, I'm not going to, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So you don't need that to prepare for this case.
Not this motion here.
No. The underlying charges against you.
Oh, I would absolutely need that if this is.
Okay.
Pursue forward.
Then we're going to need you to provide dates. So you want body cam footage if it exists from interaction between you and officer so-and-so for this date and that date. All right. Sure, go ahead.
As I said, he has been given all of those. It's my understanding that he initially appealed the FOIA, which went to the township supervisor. The township supervisor acknowledged the redacted portions were legal material and returned back to Mr. Crusoe. He then appealed the appeal, which went to my office, and we confirmed again that the only redactions are legal material. I think he's appealed us twice more. So it's not relevant for a portion of it.
Are you saying you never got the body cam footage, or you got the body cam footage and things were redacted?
Oh, well, there's that, those are part of the issues too. There's body cam and stuff and that's the problem, is there's all sorts of stuff that's redacted in body cams and in the reports, and then there's stuff missing.
Okay, hold on. Then you acknowledge that they've sent you those body cam footages
So, okay.
for the interaction between you and the officer?
The incident before specifically the one I want, and that I know is missing, is the one before he pulled me over, but the day before he pulled me over.
Okay.
Where I asked for.
Okay.
Missing message drove.
Prior to these tickets being issued, there was an interaction between that officer and yourself. That you've never seen the video,
No.
the body cam footage.
Well, I've been.
Okay.
Again,
Do you know whether or not that's been submitted?
As far as I know, having a these days been billed at.
All right.
The that is paid.
All right, but now you're talking about FOIA stuff. I'm talking about that body cam. That's all I'm talking about is one body cam. Okay, all right. But you can't, off the top of your head, you can't give me that incident date.
no, that wasn't.
All right. All right, so submit a formal request for body cam footage from that date to the prosecutor. She can check it out, see if it's been submitted to you prior. She can tell you when, she can resubmit it. She can file a motion with me and say, I'm not going to submit that because, and we'll go from there. All right, that's that one specific issue. Agreed? Okay. All right, let's get back to your argument, Mr. Crusoe, that the language that we just went over is overly broad or vague. Let's hit that again. So is it the definition of the ORV that you think is overly broad?
Oh, absolutely. It basically encompasses any, it even says, any vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of the road, right? And that's any vehicle, I mean, you can even take a smart car off the road if you wanted to, essentially. I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, the way he just reads, they could just apply that anytime they want to any vehicle, whenever they want.
If I'm understanding your argument, I drive an F-150,
So,
right? So we would probably agree that we could take that off the road.
well,
You and I.
in commercial, so that's what they.
Right. So your argument is because they could write ORV on a roadway for that means this statute or this ordinance is overly broad. All right. Except they can't because the state of Michigan has licensed me to put my F-150 on the road.
But again, the same point, mine can be the same thing.
But it's not licensed. It can be. It can be. And I would like to see you do that because then I want to see how they're going to keep you off the road. The state of Michigan said you can put that on the road.
But again, Your Honor, that the whole reason that they're trying to dance around the whole thing, because if they didn't bring up none of the registration.
I know you're getting back to the confusion
stuff, right? They're trying to use the definition of ORV to.
I get with the whole, you sat in the car 45 minutes, they decide what to do with you. I get all that. Okay. And that's problematic for me too. But I don't find this language to be overly broad because there's the licensing aspect of it that narrows it.
So there's that conflict there, right? And that also shows the ambiguity of it, right? So you're saying that if I want to pay a tax stamp for something, then now all of a sudden it's not this, but then they're trying to claim it's this. So how does a tag all of a sudden make this, not this? Doesn't make sense.
Hold on, you lost me.
If all of a sudden, so what they're trying to claim is an ORV, but if I magically go get a tax stamp put on it, right, registered, now it's automatically just a motor vehicle. So now it falls under.
Yeah, but hold on. It's not just about the money. And believe me, brother, I'm the first one to think that I'm the first one to jump in the bandwagon with you about the government grabbing money. All right. I fight that here. But it's more than that because let's just pick the specific example of an ORV. I could build myself a dune buggy, right? Completely manufactured. I couldn't because I'm not handy that way. But I mean, you know what I mean. I could get tubular stock and build a frame, and I could grab a motor, an engine off of something else and fabricate a drivetrain. And I could have something that I could take off, go through the trails and the hills. Would you agree with me? No, but I mean, I'm just like build it from scratch, right? I'm Henry Ford. I built it from scratch and it's out there running around. But if I get it registered as a motor vehicle by the state of Michigan, they're putting their rubber stamp of approval on it saying it's safe for me to put on their roads. There's a safety issue, not just a money grab. And that's the way I'm looking at this because from my little bit of research, if I got to find it, if I want to go through the process to get my manufactured vehicle roadworthy, I've got to have tail lights. I've got high and low beam headlights. I've got to have turn signals front and rear. I got to have a rear view mirror. The state of Michigan is checking all these things off before they license me or register me to put it on the road. And they're saying, they being the state of Michigan, saying it's safe to get on the road with the F-150s that you and I drive.
Yeah, but again, you're giving an example of someone building something. The thing that my vehicle already comes equipped and built and manufactured that way.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I can guarantee you that if somebody took the time and researched what these roadworthy requirements were state by state, they would be different. There'd be similarities, but they'd be different. So for Terex to sell it and say it's roadworthy, they're not guaranteeing you that it's legal in Michigan. They can't.
Well, that's why I put those disclaimers on. The other thing too.
Stop. I'm not done with my argument. That's where the registration process comes from. The individual states saying, yeah, Crucell, we think your Terex is legal on Michigan roads. That's the whole part of the process that changes from just any old thing that they decide they want to ticket somebody because they had it on the roadway. They could claim it's an ORV. No, they can't because it's registered, my F-150, your F-150. It's registered with the state of Michigan as a motor vehicle. i.e. legal to be on the roads. That's what kills your overly broad argument, is because there's a process by which it is no longer an ORV. It's now roadworthy because the state of Michigan is registered as such.
But again, the state of Michigan is arbitrarily trying to convert everyone's right to travel by saying you get this.
That's a different argument.
Yeah, but see,
That's a different argument.
I get where you're trying to go with this. I understand that. But again, you look at this definition and no one said anything. Again, this all goes back to, I was not cited for no registration. I was not cited for insurance. None of that stuff was even brought up. It was strictly the ORV that they're trying to stick to. And again, by going off this definition, that can be any single vehicle in the world. Anything that they want is capable of going off road.
Well, but here's my ruling. Here's my ruling. Because there's a process to register vehicles, whether or not they're ORVs, F-150s, whatever they are, because there's a process in the state of Michigan that's to register them as roadworthy, I don't think that's overly broad language. Because I think you can't read everything in a vacuum. So my ruling is, on that motion, my ruling is, I deny your motion that it's overly broad. I don't believe it is. But I still have problems with the way the whole thing went down. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that. Because, and I think I've told you this from the beginning. I get it. Matter of fact, I think the first day you were here, I get it. You've had interactions with Huron Township police officers that said you're good. And now all of a sudden this guy says you're not good. And here we are. I mean, that's blatantly unfair. Whether or not it was accidental or by design, it's still like, okay, that's not fair, but that's the way things happen. All right. There's not a hell of a lot of, there's a distinction, but you know, if I drive 75 miles an hour on 275 every day and I go by 3 officers, Huron officers, and they don't stop me because I'm only going 5 over, but the state stops me and writes me for going 1 to 6 over. It's kind of unfair, but clearly I violated the law. You follow me?
Yeah, but you're comparing two different departments.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Which is what I told you way back when. It's like, hey, I get it. It's unfair, but the tickets were issued. We got to go through the process and deal with it. Hold on. Stop. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to deal with the unfairness in the process. Okay.
Right. Which I get what you're saying. But again, if I was charging this in, say, Flat Rock, and I tried pulling this over, Huron told me, then I get that.
Oh, absolutely. Your argument's much stronger in Huron. Absolutely. And once again, I'm feeling it. Okay. I told you from the beginning, I get it. It's not, it stinks. Okay. Do you know what the process is to register the Terex to put it on the road?
I get it. The state's process is to register vehicles.
How long would it take? If you know.
Well,
I don't have a clue.
That's been part of it. If I was looking to do that, I would, but again, I've been confirmed that I had my lawful right to travel by several different, including, again, this all stems from the traffic sergeant in Huron telling me that I have the lawful right to do what I have to do. So I don't have any intention.
Well, what do you think the chances are of him coming in here and testify to that?
I don't think that he would incriminate himself.
So you're planning on issuing, so you're going to issue a subpoena to him for trial?
And his fiance or girlfriend, because she was also the one relaying all the information to my wife about the same thing. So yeah, I would absolutely subpoena both of them to have them come here. I have a whole slew of people on the subpoena.
Right. Are you willing to register the Terex? It would help resolve things?
I remember you pointing out that she would like to have a traveling argument. If I got brought into
No, don't go the traveling argument. To resolve these issues, would you be willing to register your vehicle with the state of Michigan, the Terex?
Not at this point, no.
Okay.
Again, there's other arguments that I have lots of stuff to show where the conflict with that is too. But again, that's not what we're here for.
What do you think we're here for?
ORV and road. We're not here for registration, none of that stuff. That wasn't part of.
But I'm trying to resolve issues. Okay. All right, because
I'm not just going to run around and make this big deal with Huron. I'm not a criminal. I have no criminal history. I was just doing something I lawfully had the right to do. It was confirmed I had the lawful right to do. And then now here we all are dealing with all this. And I'm being targeted by people that And then I've got good friends that work in the department, we've been, again, we've known Everett, we've been a part of this forever, and then now all of a sudden.
Here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you want your trial. Because I don't think anything else is going to satisfy you other than to get the trial.
This needs to be dismissed, but it should have been in the beginning.
But you don't have a legal argument that I can hang my hat on to dismiss it.
I had all sorts of legal aspects to show that the whole beginning of this was like all off the stop.
You've never even argued that. You've never filed a motion to dismiss for lack of probable cause.
In the very beginning, and you dismissed it saying, "Oh, I find probable cause," just because I have all the reporting.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did. Because I said you're going down the roadway and you're doing something he thinks is illegal, gives him a right to stop you.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to the point that we had interactions and he chose to retaliate instead of going to talk to a traffic sergeant who's above him, right? Who is ahead of their traffic, who's the one that confirmed that I had every lawful right to do what I was doing.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Who is above Sergeant Price, and he confirmed that operating an automated roadway is, that's why it's a very true citation.
Yeah, but you don't think it's gonna be problematic if Price sits on the stand, says 2 different times I told him he could do what he was doing.
And also some excited did make contact with Mr. Crusoe times notifying him that he was not to operate an RV in the roadway. And during the stop, Mr. Crusoe himself said, "I was waiting for this."
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, if Price sits there and says on 2 different occasions, I told this guy that he could operate that vehicle on these roads, I can't see any trier of fact convicting him of the RV.
That's true. Why didn't we have him here for our trials?
I don't know.
Again, because there's all sorts of issues, and all that paper I've been filing, there's issues the whole entire time. I had no intentions of doing any trial, and I even sat here the other day when I said I'm not participating, especially in a trial that ends in a court that owned by the state, you're owned by the state.
Let's talk about that.
Hold on.
Hold on. Let's talk about that because I highlighted that when I got your motion last week or whatever it was. Okay. That's not the case. Okay. Huron Township, let me finish. Huron Township is bringing the charge against you. It's the Township of Huron versus you. It's not the state of Michigan.
It says the state of, even one of the, not even says the state of Michigan against it.
It's a separate legal entity.
And
well,
you know Neil Gorsuch is, Justice Gorsuch? He's even coming out in the Reagan Center, even talking about how courts like these, that's what they're doing. They're denying people their rights and they're only bringing the charges and judging their own cases. That is exactly what it is. You can't have a fair trial that way. Absolutely not. And not to mention that.
All right, well, let me stop you. That's the way our system is at this point in time. That's the only system we've got is where the judiciary runs the courts, the legislature creates the law, and the executive branch enforces them. That's the system we have. If you don't like it, work to change it, but that's the system you've been charged in, and that's the system you've got.
And with the Chevron deference case being overturned, that explicitly stops them all of them referring to statutory, all this stuff, the statutory stuff.
All right, you're getting nowhere with any of those arguments, Mr. Crusoe. You're not going to get anywhere with those arguments at this level. So the only thing you can do is get a judgment here that you can appeal to the next level and appeal that to the next level. And ultimately you may end up at the US Supreme Court and have somebody agree with you, but that doesn't work here. We've got to deal with what we've got. I've got to deal with the precedents that we've got in place now, not your arguments that you think are going to be accepted down the road. That's the reality. All right. You and I can sit down over a cup of coffee, or I don't drink coffee, but whatever, and talk about how there are, problems with the system. But the system we have now is the only system I've got to work, and I'm going to work it. So what I'm hearing from you is we got to get a trial date and let you get a decision. If you win, beautiful, you can stop there. If you lose, you're moving up the appeal chain. Because none of the arguments you've got apply here. Your travel argument, I'm not buying that. That's never been accepted anywhere that I know of that I've got any reason to follow. I told you.
State auditors, they've been doing it for a very long
Say
time.
that again.
The state is, the word I'm looking for, I've lost my word. But the state is going and trying to take people's right to travel and saying that everybody has to have these licenses and all these things.
Absolutely. And but hold on. It's well-established law, might be changed somewhere down the road, but currently it's well-established law that if you're traveling by means of a motor vehicle, you have to have a operator's license.
Actually, federal codes in all the states.
This is not a federal court, sir. This is not a federal court.
Okay, go back to motor, right, shows again, it's another ambiguous statute.
Okay, look, I'm not going to argue this. I've already argued this with you. I've made it clear from day one that your traveling argument dies. It doesn't go anywhere in this court. So stop arguing that. It's not going to get you to where you need to be, which is to resolve these files one way or the other so you can appeal it if you want to. You follow me?
Well, I get very well to take it, yes.
No, it's not where I want you to take it. It's where you have to take it because we're not gonna have these same arguments ad infinitum over and over and over again. We're gonna close these files at some point.
Should close the month.
But that's because you want them to doesn't mean it's gonna happen that way. I'm not gonna dismiss these just because you don't like the way things went down. I don't like the way things went down. But the process has to be followed. As much as I would like to just make this go away, I'm not going to agree with you just to make the case go away.
It's very obvious what took place.
No, it's not. But once again, Mr. Costello, it's obvious to you, but you're not the guy up here in the black robe that's making the decisions. It's obvious to you because that's the only way you can see it. And I get that. Right? I get it. It's your position. You're passionate about your position, but where you're losing it is you just won't accept the fact that I don't agree with you. I'm in charge and it's got to move forward. That's just the reality of it. And once again, man, I hope you appeal it. I hope you make some new law. Good for you.
I mean,
So now we need a trial date.
which I completed the trial.
But once again, I don't care if you object. Listen to me. Listen to me. It's not being dismissed. That means we have to try it to make it go away. That's the way the process works.
Again, how is one supposed to be, and again, you yourself, and I've watched you in numerous other videos, okay, I've seen, because you made yourself, you're on TikTok all over the place. And I see the things you say to everyone, it's very obvious, and you yourself has even admitted to seeing things the same way. There is no way that I would ever have a fair trial, any way, shape, or form.
And that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Once again, just because I happen to agree with the prosecutor or any other party in a case doesn't mean I'm biased against the other party. At any point in time, I've got to make a decision. Somebody's right, somebody's wrong.
That, right, to make it seem like you're not putting this exact notice. The prosecutor and these courts, they work together.
But
it's all by the state.
Then once again, Mr. Crisell, then you need to appeal my decision when I told you I was not going to recuse myself. You should have appealed that. But we're not going to keep plowing the same field. I'm going to set a trial date and you're going to be here for trial or I'm going to issue a bench warrant. I don't know any other way to resolve the file. I've got to resolve these files. You need these files resolved. If you want to appeal me, you got to have a decision to appeal.
Yeah.
So, you keep sitting there and say, I'm not going to participate in a trial. At some point, you have to if you want these to go away. And hear my heart. If I knew of another way to get you to where you want to go, I'd throw that suggestion out there. But once again, I'm not just going to roll over and say, okay, case dismissed, because I don't buy your legal arguments.
Which is, again, wild to me because it's very clearly that this ORV thing is being overly applied because it's not.
But once again, it's clear to you. I just told you I don't agree with you. But you can't accept the fact that I might disagree with you. That's unhealthy. I mean, you can believe I'm wrong. That's okay. But you got to accept the fact that I'm in the judgment seat and I've said you're wrong. Then appeal me. That's the way the process works. I understand you think the process is faulty, but that's the process we have. So if you've got some other way to resolve these files, a suggestion, I'm open to hear it. But the only thing I can say is we got to get a trial scheduled and let the chips fall. And I'd love to have you bring Officer Price in here. Because I told you from the beginning, I believe that inadvertent or not otherwise, the Township of Huron kind of set you up to get the ORV ticket. Because I believe that you've been told in the past that you were okay. I believe that.
100%.
But I can't do anything with it here. Put Price on the stand and he says, I guess I was wrong because I told him he could do that. So what are we going to do? You ready to set a trial?
Leaving no other option.
There is, I don't know of any other option, Mr. Crisell. I honestly, brother, I don't know of any other option.
Well, I mean, again,
Because I can't keep kicking the can down the road. I mean, I can't have this, I can't retire down the road and still have these open files here. I mean, I'm not doing my job. And I don't think it's doing you any good.
been a nuisance.
What's it going on? Year and a half now? Closer to 2, coming on 2. No, it was February 24. 24, yeah. All right, so you want a bench trial, you want a jury trial? All right, you're gonna represent yourself? Okay, let's get a date.
Can you do January 30th, Thursday?
You? What day was it? Thursday? Yes. All right, so you're going to send the prosecutor an email with a specific date for that video you're looking for, or that body cam footage, I should say, right? Okay, no further motions. We're going to trial. Well, the only other motion I'll entertain now is if it's a discovery motion. Understood, Mr. Crisell? All right, questions? All right, good luck.
Real quick, I mean, I do believe we're gonna go through files here in the firm, and you guys have a bench warrant.
You got a bench warrant for something?
Yeah.
What's it? A misdemeanor?
Yeah.
And the case number for.
No else.
You got it?
Yes.
All right. We can get you a case or a court date for that, ma'am. Mr. Crisell, we've got a speeding ticket that's got nothing to do with this incident, I think, from August 21, 24.
Signing this with retaliation stuff.
Okay. Who was that officer?
Officer Merrill.
Okay. Did Merrill have anything to do with the other ones?
My wife on her dead end road, and again, that's a.
Hold on. Merrill didn't have anything to do with the February incident, did he?
Not bad, no.
Okay. All right.
Title, but
So what are you going to do on this? Once again, it's in default because you didn't do anything with it. So
I need to do that. Paperwork, no one responded to anything in my paperwork.
What'd you file on this?
I got a, I gave them the ball in there.
Yeah, none of that does anything. That's more of the bullshit that we just ignore that stuff. So you want a hearing? Well, if you want him to prove it, then you ask for a hearing. You don't just file paperwork.
I told her if it wants to the date, you can give me a date. Finish the post.
Okay. Well, you don't ask the clerk if she wants to set a date. If you want to fight a ticket, you say, I want to contest this ticket. I need a hearing. So do you want a formal hearing date? I'll give you a formal hearing date. All right. You want to do that before the jury trial? Huron have any formal hearing dates coming up?
We can do it, December 10th, so we'll 25th.
December 10th?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, yeah. Just my regular Tuesday, you mean?
It's a Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. So formal hearing, what time do you do it? December 10th?
Do 10:30.
She's here all morning, so I'm asking you, 10:30?
And that's on the speed.
Yeah, the case ending in 143?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the other civil infraction is the CCW disclosure thing.
Which goes-
That's going with the February. You understood that?
But we do that before, right? No.
Usually after. Yeah, understood? That was a yes?
Yeah, I got you.
That one is.
All right, anything else, folks?
It is nine.
Denied. Motion to dismiss denied. Although I did like the argument.
So we'll move more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get a notice for her?
Yeah, she's got a notice.
Ms. Crisell, your bench warrant has been set aside.
Yeah. we'll send-
What is that? That's a misdemeanor though. What date you give her?
It'll be you. It's in
The 10th?
January. It's when you.
January.
This
All right.
And your position number. I'm sorry. Pay attention whenever I get.
Have a good day, folks.
Yeah, there's nine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I just wanted to get input for in person. I'll send it.
And fire.